Hi guys, I'm Nareo. I'm from Tacloban City, currently working as a front-end developer. And aside from work, I'm also currently into the crypto space, both the blockchain technology and the cryptocurrencies. But for today, I'll be talking about the tech stack that I prefer and have the most experience with, which is the MERN stack. So MERN stands for MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js, which the only difference to the other tech stack in the list, aside from Ruby and Rails, is that MERN uses React for its front end. So for that, I'll just focus on why React for now. So why React? As a developer, we experience using the basic HTML and CSS and JS for developing our first application. Vanilla JS was also quite inefficient at the time compared to now. That's why we also used the jQuery library before. But when React.js was introduced to me, I quickly fell in love with it. It was like a love at first sight. It made front-end development a lot easier and faster. So at this point, you can say that I chose React over Angular and Vue because React was the first one to be introduced to me. But aside from that, React is my go-to front-end framework, library, because of React Native and Electron.js, which supports React. So basically, you can develop web apps, mobile apps, and desktop apps just by learning React. And of course, the technologies that's needed for you to enable to do it. For the best example, on my experience using the MERN stack, I think it will be Insight Crypto. It's a personal project of mine. Why is it the best example? Because Insight Crypto is a national finalist last year during the Philippine Startup Challenge 2021 professional category during the Philippine Startup Week event. So Insight Crypto used MongoDB for the database, Express for the REST API, React for the front end, Python for data processing, numbers crunching, and other server related stuff, and GCP, Google Cloud Platform, for the cloud computing, a literal full stack. It's the best example because it's a project of mine. So the only time that I've been working on it is during my free times or when I like doing so. But by using MERN, it still enabled me to develop Insight Crypto more efficiently and faster without compromising security and other factors for a web application. And yeah, it made me win the semifinals during the regional rounds and being one of the national finalists during that event. So why is it that the MERN stack is one of the best tech stack to learn in 2022? Actually, before Dev Partners, I've been already a outsourced dev to companies outside the Philippines, and most, if not all, companies that I've worked with are startups. So what's the most important thing to startups? It's speed. That's why a lot of companies right now are transitioning or choosing the MERN stack. It not only allows them to use high performance and easily customizable technologies, it also enables them to develop web application and other software a lot easier and faster. There's actually a lot of companies right now in the US that are migrating to React.js. There's actually this one big company that's currently migrating from Cold Fusion to React for its front end. And aside from that the MERN stack is easier to learn, it's also currently in demand right now. So a quick Google search on front-end libraries or frameworks market share will bring up the statistics that can prove it. Tips for those who want to learn the MERN stack. Because MERN is currently popular and in demand right now, there's actually a lot of tutorials in the internet. You can go to Stack Overflow, YouTube, Udemy, or anywhere you can find them. And of course, it's for free. but still, the best way to learn is to apply it. So I suggest you create your own personal project using the MERN stack. Start from the very basic, like a simple to-do app, up to a bigger, more complex one, like a social media app, or anything that you like. So I think that's all for my short video today. I hope those aspiring developers that wants to learn the MERN stack, I can say that go for it, and maybe you can share those personal projects to me next time. So I think that's all for today. Have a nice day.
Hi, I'm Algerin Caprera. I'm currently residing in Quezon City. I am employed by their partners as a system analyst. Today, I will discuss a popular tech stack for web development, which is MERN, or it stands for MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node.js. So, I will dissect each tech stack or tech that is used in this tech stack. So first, let me discuss to you what is Node.js. Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime. This is we will build our server or backend. Next is Angular. Angular is one of popular front-end framework developed by Google and or maintained by Google, and has a large of community. It is a full front-end framework, so it has all the routers, state management, all of that. And then there is Express. Express is a library, is a REST API library for Node.js. This will help you to create a REST API endpoint. And MongoDB. MongoDB is a NoSQL database, so it uses document instead of tables. So, what is the benefits of using MERN tech stack in your work? So, because it is a Node.js, your backend is a Node.js and your front end is Angular. It uses same programming language, which is JavaScript. So you can easily go from your front end and back end development. And then if you are using Angular, Angular is one of the popular front end framework. So and it is maintained by Google. So it will give you a benefit of a large community and good documentation of the framework. And for the updates, security patches, it is fastly deployed or fastly fixed by the Google team. And then if you are using MongoDB as your database, you can query all of the data you need in one single call without using complex join, pivot like that in your query or database query, because it is a document. So your data object can have a nested object inside of it. And next, Express. Express is one of the popular REST API frameworks. So if popularity wise or community wise, it has a large community. It can help you build easily the REST API you need. And then if you like or want to start to become full stack developer, MERN will be a great start for you to learn, because it uses only one programming language full throughout, front end, back end. And then one of the learning tips, MERN, there is a lot of video tutorials on the YouTube right now, and there's a lot of articles, tutorials in the website or in the Google if you just search MERN. And then one tip, learn the ins and outs of JavaScript before committing to it, because you should know what are the quirks of the programming language, so you can gauge if you can you can live with its works or not. So you can fully invested on that programming language. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Alfie Chong. I'm from Quezon City. I've been a web developer for 15 years. I'm graduated from Informatics Quezon City. So my background is I've been exposed to different technology like PHP, JavaScript, Java. I also have experience using the ActionScript when it was still on Macromedia, so it was a long time ago. And I've been exposed on different framework also, like different tech stack like Laravel, CodeIgniter, Cake PHP. I've been using different databases also like Postgre, MariaDB, MySQL, MongoDB. I also been working with different framework like Amplify, the one with AWS. I did also work with Vue.js, AngularJS, and React.js. So those are mostly my experiences. So I would like to share my experience in using the MEVN tech stack. So what is MEVN stands for? MEVN stands for MongoDB, Express.js, Vue.js, and Node.js. So these are the stack that I've been using to that I choose to create some of the application that I did before. Vue.js. So what is Vue.js? Vue.js is a front-end framework. And why I choose Vue.js? It is because Vue.js has a concept of single file templating or a single file component. It means that it has this template, the behavior, which is the actual JavaScript, and the styles in a single file. So in this sense, it separates the concerns of each component on its own. So we can create more component like this and use it on other parts of our application more easier. And it is also a developer-friendly approach of doing components. So in the UI application, there is always a need for a routing and state management solution, which is Vue.js has its own as a first-class library. So that's why this framework is more easier to use because it has this community that helps it build these types of library as a first-class library for the usage of this application or this framework. So it also have a official style guide. Unlike with other framework or other library, we have a lot of approach or what they call this a way on how we can style or do our things on those framework, which makes it confusing for the newcomers to use those frameworks. Unlike with Vue.js, it has its own style guide, which is stated on its website. So it's more friendly for the newcomers to use it because they have this structure already that you can easily use based on its own framework itself. Another thing is it has a great community support. It means that a lot of developers support this framework to build it and to make it more usable and more efficient. So it will grow together with this developer that helps to improve this framework. And also it has a CLI that gives us also a GUI for us to manage the application. We can also use this GUI to create a new application. So this is one of the things that make a new user more easier to adapt to the Vue.js. So this is one also of the reason why I choose this application. Another thing is we got more stars on GitHub than other frameworks. So this means that every person who uses Vue.js love it and they like it. So that's why they give us stars on the GitHub. So that's also one of the reasons why I love Vue.js. So most of the people also, or the person that was exposed on Vue.js, they also love it. As per the stars on the GitHub would show it to the people. So that's one of the reason, and that's why I use Vue.js. So the next one is the Express.js. So what is Express.js? Express.js is a framework that built upon the Node.js. So this is also the one that we use to create an API server or a GraphQL server. So this is what we use. I choose this one because it's more easier for us to integrate API and middleware into it. This is because it's built upon the Node.js. It means that it's faster and it's more optimized in a secure way because it was built with Node.js, and also it has the capability for us to render and use a templating engine to render dynamically to the HTML template or to return a JSON object from the API. So this is the reason why I use Express.js. Okay, MEVN, why I choose this is because as you can see, most of them is made up of JavaScript. So like Vue is created by JavaScript. Node.js is actually a runtime that's run JavaScript, and MongoDB and Express.js is also JavaScript. So this is one of the reasons why I chose this tech stack. But what is MEVN? So let's start with the Node.js. Node.js, why I choose Node.js instead of other technology? Because Node.js is more faster than other technology. Actually, PayPal has this Java application before that they use Java for this application that they have on their company, and what they did is they recreate this application using the Node.js, and what happened is they end up a more faster application, twice as fast as what they have before, and not only on the runtime but also on the build time. They declared that it's 40% faster than the old application that they have when building, and also it has lesser code than their old code base. So it means that this Node.js has a proven example already on a real world. So that's why I choose this technology. So and another thing is it is more easier to use, and most of the cloud functions right now, we know that we have a lot of cloud function right now that we've been using, and it's becoming more popular. And Node.js is one of the most popular language that we've been using on the cloud function. So that's one of the reasons why I use Node.js. So why MEVN is the best tech stack to learn? It is because you can create application faster, easier, and it has a good community that supports its stack. So this means that if you need help from other developers, there's a lot of people that you can reach out for you to guide you, or there's a lot of article out there that could help you on your development of the application. So that's why I think that MEVN is one of the best tech stack to learn. So tips for those who wants to learn this tech stack. So I would suggest to learn first the Node.js and Express.js as they come hand to hand to each other, and it's more easier for you to use to integrate the other part like the MongoDB and the Vue.js after you learn this one. So after you learn the setup of the Node.js and how the Express.js works, then you can implement the MongoDB into it. It's more it's easier first to learn also how the MongoDB works. So you can go to the site of MongoDB and how the NoSQL database work, how you can query, how you can get data, how the document was actually stored into it. It's really it's really a good thing to learn the concept on how the MongoDB works first before implementing it into the Express.js. Then after that, you can implement the Vue.js, which is the front end for the application. It's also a good thing to do this at the last part because since you already have the back end or the Node.js and the MongoDB implemented, you have already the back end. So on that side, if you implement the Vue.js into it, it will be the backend is already ready, and Vue.js has this really comprehensive documentation that they have in their website. You can go to their website, search for Vue.js, and search for the installation part, so you know how to install it. And there's a lot of resources that's there that you can follow to start learning the Vue.js. So that's all. Thank you.
Hi, good day. Welcome to my Ruby on Rails presentation. Before anything else, I would like to introduce first myself. So I am Ryan Borromeo, and I am the technical recruiter here in Dev Partners. I have also a background in programming, especially on web development using Ruby on Rails. Also, I have a background in project management for more than 4 years, and I have been handling startups and enterprise company these past 4 years. So what we will learn today, we will learn the basics of programming for Ruby. Number two is we will learn the basic concepts of Rails framework. And lastly, we will see Rails framework in action. So what is Ruby programming language? So Ruby is a dynamic open programming language with focus on simplicity and productivity. It has an elegant syntax that is natural to read and easy to write. Its creator is Yukihiro Matsumoto. He is a Japanese programmer, and he has blended parts of his favorite language like Perl, Smalltalk, Eiffel, Ada, and Lisp to form a new language that is balanced programming, functional programming with imperative programming. Ruby is also included in the top 20 TOB programming language of the year 2022. So, without further ado, let's see Ruby on action. All right, so let's see Ruby in action. We have our IDE here. So first, let's print some hello world. Hello world. Then let's run it. So you could type here in our shell, Ruby, the file name, which is this one, main.rb. Ta-da! So you can see here in our shell, it's printed hello world. All right, so let's try something else. Let's do some math. In Ruby, you could say puts, let's say 1 plus 1. Let's run it. It says here, all right, hello world, and it says here 2. Right, great job. All right, let's delete this one. Okay, so let's do some, Ruby is, everything is an object. So you, for example, if you will print 1 and say class, okay, it will print out here. So it says here that 1 is an integer. Okay, let's clear our shell. Okay, so let's do some conditionals, all right? Okay, maybe let's put here maybe age is 12, and then let's do some conditionals. So if age is greater than or equal to, let's say 5, and let's say age is less than or equal to 6, we will put you are still in kindergarten. Okay, then if we will put else if, so in Ruby it's else if, right? If age is greater than or equal to, let's say 7, and let's say age is less than or equal to 13, we will put you are in, let's say, middle school or high school. Okay, middle school, yeah, rather. And let's say else you're still a baby, so you should stay at home. Okay, and because this is a block statement, so each Ruby block should have an end keyword. Okay, let's try this one. Let's run this. Ruby. So again, Ruby main.rb. Hey, see, you're in middle school because our age is 12. So it is greater than or equal to 7 and less than and equal to 13. Okay, all right. So I think that is the basics of Ruby as of this moment. So you could explore more. So you could go to the Ruby programming language website and to learn more about the syntax of Ruby. All right. Now that you know the basics of Ruby programming language, let's go and dive into the Rails framework. So what is a Rails framework? So Rails framework is a server-side application, web application framework written in Ruby. So Rails is a model view controller framework providing default structures for a database, a web service, and web pages. It is also an open source framework. So if you want to contribute to the Rails framework, go to the repository and GitHub and do some pull requests. And Rails framework is created by David Heinemeier Hansen. So who are the famous companies that are using Rails? The first one is GitHub. So GitHub is a popular repository for software developers. Second one is Dribble. So Dribble is a website in which you could upload your UI designs. Third one is Airbnb. So Airbnb is a website in which you could post your property if you want to rent it. And the next one is Twitch. So Twitch is a live streaming website for especially for gamers. And the last one is Shopify. So Shopify is an e-commerce platform and it is written in Rails. So what are the prerequisites for using Rails framework? So for the operating system, we should have Windows, Linux, or even Mac OS. For the database, so the recommended database of Rails framework is Postgres. The next one, you should have a basic knowledge of Ruby programming language. So for installation, you could follow this guide at gorails.com. Right, so I think that is all for today, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed our short lecture here in Dev Partners. So again, thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye bye.